guys, it's Bex. Welcome to another video. We are in a very weird filming spot right now and there's bad lighting. I look not great. All the things because I just thought now would be a good time to intro my vacation slash honeymoon reading vlog that I'm going to film for you guys. We leave tomorrow to Costa Rica, which is, it's split up into 2 flights there and 3 back, unfortunately. But I think total flying time from where I live is about 8 hours, so you know, getting up there. And our flight leaves at 5:10 in the morning, so we have to get up at like 2:30, 2:45, leave our house at about 3:15. It's international. I live in the US, so I just want to make sure everything goes smoothly and stuff, so that's why we're leaving so early. But I just figured I would start this video now, kind of go over briefly my reading plans. This is the like personal bag that I'm bringing on the plane. In here I have my book sleeve and I have my Kindle and I have 2 physical books, which I honestly think will be plenty because I mostly think I'll be reading on my Kindle just because they tend to get wet sometimes. I've had that happen before. The 2 books that I brought are that I'm bringing are Every Summer After by Carly Fortune and Beach Read by Emily Henry. Beach Read is on my January TBR, but I have a feeling that I might be more inclined to start Every Summer After. I don't know, we'll see what mood I'm in. And then on my Kindle, I have a couple books downloaded. I know I have Ward D by Frida McFadden, which I think I'm gonna save mostly for like the flight's airport because it is not giving beachy. And we're staying at a resort, like literally right on the ocean. And there's lots of pools. And then we also have a beach that is like right there. But we have that for the plane. And then I have a couple like summary books, which I can't remember what they're called. So one second. Rebel Summer by Cindy Steele, which is like a YA summer romance book. And then we have The Summer We Fell by Elizabeth Roark? I don't know how to say her name. And I think that's like more of an adult romance. Then we have The Other Side of Summer by Lila Andrews, which is an adult romance. And then The Summer Girl by Elle Kennedy, which I think is like a new adult. Those are kind of the summary books that I have planned to possibly pick up. So yeah, those are the plans for my reading. Tomorrow's Monday and we leave Saturday, so we really have a total of 4 full days there, 2 pretty much full days of traveling. We do have a little bit of time tomorrow evening when we get there. We get there at 4 p.m. Costa Rica time, but I don't know how much I'm gonna read. We are going to have lots of time to read. Mostly it's going to be just a relaxing vacation. We don't have a lot of plans to like go out and do things because we're not renting a car or anything. Yeah, this is just me and my husband's kind of late honeymoon, like real honeymoon from when we got married in September. We went on like just a little mini honeymoon right after the wedding, but we wanted to have more of a moment for our honeymoon and I've heard great things about Costa Rica. Oh, and then I also have an audiobook that I have downloaded on my phone, which is actually a book that I own physically that I was going to maybe bring, but I needed an audiobook, so I downloaded that one. It's The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. It's like a kind of summery thriller because it takes place on a cruise ship. That's the plan. I am so excited for this trip. Hey guys, I am in Costa Rica now. I think I will probably have put some clips in by now of me reading and on our flight over and stuff like that. But we got here last night, so it's been a little bit over 24 hours. And I'm using this because even though I'm in my room, it's so loud outside. So hopefully this will help cancel out that noise. But I have a lot of updates in my books. Plural books, because I read a lot yesterday on the travels over here, and I'm at a resort on the beach. There isn't a lot to do besides like lay by the pool, lay by the ocean, and read, so I've done a lot of reading. First, because this is the book I'm on right now, the book I started today is called Sunkissed by Casey West. It's a YA contemporary romance novel about this girl and her family. They are often, where are they even at? Does it say? No, I literally don't think it said ever. Maybe it did and I forgot, but it doesn't say in the synopsis. Her sister and her mom and dad go stay at like this family like resort in the woods, and it like doesn't have cell reception. They're there for like 3 months, literally like all summer. They always do something every summer, and this is the last summer that our main character Avery is going to be like home because she's going to college next year. So they're taking advantage of the time together. They get there, and Avery and her sister Lauren, Avery's 17, Lauren is 15, meet this band who are working there playing for like the resort at like dinner time and stuff. They're all like 18, 19 years old, and Avery and the guitar player and songwriter of the band, Brooks, kind of hit it off, start hanging out. And Brooks' kind of story is that he and his band want to compete in like this band competition. And Avery, our main character, is kind of on this journey of self-discovery, trying to figure out what she really wants in life and not just to be so predictable, I guess. So Brooks decides to help her with that, and she in turn helps Brooks write lyrics for the song that they're going to be playing at the music band competition, because she's randomly really good with writing songs, because she's like really good with words and she writes poetry and stuff like that. Anyway, that's kind of the premise. I am already almost halfway through. Oh yeah, wow, I'm 49% of the way through. I'm on page 146 of 313. Even though it isn't by the beach, it is obviously taking place in summer, and that's what I wanted. I would have liked something beachy specifically, but this was the book that I chose to read. I had a couple other ones downloaded on my Kindle, and I also brought 2 physical books, but I just decided this one was the one I wanted to read right now, so I'm liking it so far. It's giving all the vibes, I will say, that I wanted for this trip. And then the book I started yesterday that I'm probably going to hold off reading until my like return journey home is Ward D by Frida McFadden, and I am 55% of the way through that one. So I'm about halfway through both books, and I got 55% of the way through that book all yesterday just by reading on the plane at the airport. We had like an almost 2-hour car ride from the airport to our resort because there was horrible traffic, and it's only supposed to take like 50 minutes normally, but it took almost 2 hours, so that was fun. But I read because it was dark out anyway, and I couldn't really like watch the scenery, you know. So tomorrow I don't think I'll have as much time to read because we are going to this like adventure park that has zip lining, this animal sanctuary with like sloths, monkeys, pumas, and a bunch of cool animals. And there's like this botanical garden. We get lunch there. There's a beach that we have access to that is literally from probably when we wake up to like 4:30 p.m. and then we'll come back here, you know, probably eat dinner. So we won't have as much time tomorrow, but should still be able to read while we're at the beach at the adventure park. So that'll be fun. I'm so excited to go ziplining. Did I say it has ziplining? I think so. But yeah, those are the updates. Kind of a lot. I just get really embarrassed to film in public. Sorry. I would have actually earlier, but I forgot my microphone and it was again really loud, so I didn't, but loving it so far. I know I look ridiculous. My hair looks crazy. The humidity here does not like me. I will say humidity does not like my hair. My hair does not like humidity. So it always looks a little bit frizzy and crazy when I'm in humid areas, but you know what? Whatever. And I needed to take a shower ASAP when we got back to our room because I was so sweaty and sunscreeny. It's like 90 degrees here, and and pretty warm, and there's like no AC anywhere. There is in the rooms, but it's not very much. Like, it's not super noticeable, so it's still a little bit warm in here. But anyway, I have talked long enough. That is my update, and I will probably see you guys at some point soon, tomorrow or the next day, with another one. Hey guys, hopefully you can hear me. I feel awkward and I hope that people can't see me or hear me. But I am almost done with my book, Sunkissed, that I was telling you about the other day. It's now 2 days later. It's like 11 a.m. I've just been reading this morning. Yeah, I'm 98% of the way through. I believe I have a couple more pages of this chapter and then one more chapter, but they're pretty short chapters. So anyway, I just thought I would film myself finishing it, and I also really wish you guys were a little bit higher because then you could see the view better. But I just brought my little mini like handheld tripod thingy, and you're on a little stool that's out here and it's really short, so dang it. But if I remember, I'll show you guys after. Anyway, I'm gonna keep reading. Done. I'm reading the acknowledgements, and I actually really relate to apparently the author and the main character in this book, Avery, because I'll just read it to you and it kind of explains. She's saying that this book was important to me. Avery reminds me a bit of myself as a teenager. I was a pleaser, a peacemaker, and while I think this is an admirable quality, I also had to learn that sometimes making someone else happy came at the expense of my feelings or happiness. I had to learn to stand up for myself even when the other person was kind and deserving. Being able to write Avery doing this was very cathartic for me, and I'm grateful for this story and this opportunity. Yeah, I really relate to that because I'm definitely a people pleaser and very passive in terms of like aggressive, passive aggressive, you know? And although I don't think that's a bad thing, I agree that I guess to a point it can be. Can you guys see me okay? I had to come inside because I was talking, and the room next to ours, there's like a wall that I could hear that they came outside. So yeah, I'm not brave enough to talk to myself in front of people. What was I saying? I don't think that's a bad thing, but I do think that if you're too much like that, you know, sometimes you can end up, you know, caring more about making other people happy and feeling like good about themselves to the point where maybe you aren't happy, and you know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, so I really related to that. So I know I didn't tell you guys anything about my thoughts on the book when I gave you like my halfway update. So I liked it. I will say that I probably thought I would maybe like it a little bit more than I did, and I also think that I maybe wouldn't have liked it as much if it wasn't in the setting I'm in right now, which I think that setting makes a big difference in books. Like, you know, reading a Christmas book not at Christmas time is probably just not going to hit as hard as it would if you were reading it during Christmas time. Same goes for like beachy. This book wasn't a beachy book, but like a summer book, reading it when it's super hot by the pool, you know. So I think that helped, which is always good. But yeah, I would say I would probably give it like I don't know, I'm thinking like a 3.75, which is still good. That's still really good. I really enjoyed it. I really like the sister relationship in this book because, like I said, our main character Avery is 17 and her sister Lauren is 15. They're 2 years apart. Me and my sister are 2 years apart. She's the older one though. I feel like Avery and Lauren in this book are really close, and I feel like that's kind of unusual from what I hear about sibling relationships. But me and my sister growing up were always extremely close, and we were like best friends, and we still are. So I feel like that's, yeah, kind of unusual, and a lot of people don't really relate to that, but I related to Avery and Lauren in this book because that was how me and my sister were growing up and still are. And in this book there were times where they would get mad at each other, tell on each other, but they would always come back in the end and be on each other's side, which again is just very much how me and my sister were. So yeah, I really liked that about it, and I loved Brooks, the love interest. What 17-year-old girl doesn't want to date a musician, a guitar player in a band that writes songs? Like, come on. And I also kind of related to that a little bit because my husband plays the guitar and also kind of writes songs, so I thought that was funny. So yeah, I related a lot to this book, and I thought it was cute, a great time, and I'm really excited to start a new book today. Let me grab the book I'm thinking of starting. I feel bad because I have a book on my January TBR. If you watched that video, you probably know which book that is, and I brought that one too, but I'm just feeling like reading this book instead, so sorry, don't hate me. I will read that one eventually, I promise. But I really wanted to read Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I don't know, I've just heard that the other book I was talking about is Beach Read by Emily Henry. I've just heard that one isn't, even though it's called Beach Read, the two main characters live in neighboring beach houses or something for the summer or for a couple months, but I've heard that it's not like super beachy besides the premise kind of, and besides that they live in beach houses, like it doesn't get super descriptive maybe, and they don't do super like beachy things like, go swimming, go surfing, blah blah blah. I think this one is more summery. I guess this is about our main character. Interesting. Her name is Persephone. Oh, she goes by Percy. Okay. That just reminds me of Harry Potter. If you know, you know. And he's a guy, so it's fine. Apparently, she made a really big mistake. A decade ago, she grew up spending glittering summers on the lakeshore of her childhood, but now she lives in a stylish apartment in the city until she receives the call that sends her racing back to Barry's Bay and into the orbit of Sam, a man she never thought she'd have to live without. For 6 summers, through hazy afternoons on the water and warm summer nights working in his family's restaurant, Percy and Sam had been inseparable. Eventually, that friendship turned into something more before it fell spectacularly apart. When Percy returns to the lake for Sam's mother's funeral, their connection is as undeniable as it has always been, but until Percy can confront the decision she's made, they'll never know whether their love is bigger than the biggest mistakes of their past. It's told over the course of 6 years in one weekend. Kind of reminds me of, what's that Annabelle Monaghan book? Why can't I remember the name of it? There's an Annabelle Monaghan book that has the word summer in it. The title, and it's about like this girl who goes back kind of to her childhood like beach house, and her like teenage boyfriend is there, and they like broke up, and now they're spending like a couple weeks together again because they're both there and blah blah blah. So it kind of reminds me of that. I don't know why I can't think of what that book's called right now, but yeah, the cover is just giving such good summer vibes. I hope it doesn't get wet. I probably won't. I'll be careful. Yeah, that's the plan. I will see you guys later. Alright guys, I am back home. It is the day after we got back. We got back last night at like 10 p.m. So we were so tired from traveling all day. We just slept a lot, and today I've just been relaxing. But I thought I would go ahead and give you guys my final thoughts on the 3 books that I read on vacation. I'm honestly really surprised that I read that many, kind of. And just a disclaimer, I guess. The reason I read so many books on vacation is because of the type of vacation we were on. It was an all-inclusive resort, just very like relaxing, laying by the beach, laying by the pool. That was kind of the vibe we were going for. We didn't do a lot of exploring of the country except for the one excursion day that we had where we went ziplining and stuff. So yeah, I just had a lot of time to read, and that is what we wanted for this vacation. It was 6 days, and 2 of the days were literally pretty much full travel days. So again, you have a lot of time to read while you're just waiting in the airport or on the plane. So also, the 3 books that I read were all like 300 pages, so pretty short books. First, as I did kind of update you throughout and talk to you about more so than the other two books. I read Sunkissed by Casey West, I believe her name was, on my Kindle, and I already told you guys what I thought about it. I think I'm sticking with the 3.75 stars for that book. It was cute. I would recommend it for if you like YA and you are at the lake or it's just summertime, something like that. And then I read Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, which I realized that I did not give you a single update during my reading of this book. So yeah, I have a lot to tell you guys, but basically I really loved this book. It was not quite 5 stars because of, you guys are probably expecting this from other things you've heard about this book, or if you read it, because of the reveal of why our two main characters, Percy and Sam, broke up when they were younger, because we do know that they broke up. I just didn't like it. Without spoiling what it was, I just think that's unnecessary and it just makes me dislike the character. But really, besides that, I absolutely loved it. Ate this book up, did not want to stop reading it. It does give me The Summer I Turned Pretty vibes, also mixed with, I said this before I started reading it, that the synopsis kind of sounded like that Annabelle Monaghan book, which I still don't remember what it's called for some reason. I know it has the word summer in it, but I keep wanting to say Summer Romance, but I don't think that's it. I think that's her new book that I haven't read. Anyway, I'll put it on the screen. And I've also heard, I have never read Love and Other Words, but I also heard it's really similar to Love and Other Words. But for me, it mostly reminded me of The Summer I Turned Pretty, at least in the past perspective, with Percy and Sam and their families kind of growing up, starting when Percy and Sam are 13 until they're 18. Percy and her family got this like little cottage on the lake, and they go there for the summer every year. Percy meets the Floric brothers, Sam and Charlie. Sam is the same age as her, 13, and Charlie's 15. She immediately just hits it off with specifically Sam. They are just tied at the hip. They are so cute together, even starting at 13 years old when it was just super innocent. I absolutely loved them together. Sam is just like probably honestly up there for me with one of my favorite book boyfriends. He is just so pure-hearted and sweet and kind and thoughtful, and is like open with kind of his feelings and his emotions. So yeah, they just hit it off, and you know, throughout the years when they start getting older into their teens, they obviously spark up a romance. Their friendship turns into something more, and then the now perspective, they are 30. Percy lives in the city, and she gets a call one day from Charlie, the older brother, that their mom has passed away. The funeral's happening this next weekend. If we'd love for you to go, you know, because she was really close to Sue, the mom, growing up. So she goes, and she hasn't seen Sam in like 12 years, and they see each other, and it's kind of just like that immediate attraction again and spark, but they have to kind of rehash what happened to them when they were like 18, 19 years old. And yeah, I definitely liked the past perspective better. I think the present perspective was just, it was told only over one weekend. It says right here, told over the course of 6 years in one weekend. So it just seemed a little bit like quick for me. I wish it was maybe over at least like a month or something, but kind of everything happened really fast over that weekend. But I do think because it was told like there would be a couple past chapters and then a present chapter and then past chapters and present chapter, so it did make it seem like it wasn't like, I kind of forgot it only happened over one weekend, but knowing that it did, it was kind of like, okay, it was a little bit fast. But also, you know, they've known each other since they were 13, and they were absolute best friends, so I guess that makes sense. But yeah, long story short, I really liked it. I wish the thing that happened didn't happen, because I honestly, I don't know if it would have been 5 stars, we'll never know, but possibly. But yeah, I'm going with a 4.5 star on this one. Highly recommend if you haven't read it yet, and I also highly recommend reading it during the summer or when you're on vacation or something like that, because it just hits harder in my opinion. And then the last book that I finished yesterday on our last flight back home was Ward D by Frida McFadden. On the way to Costa Rica, I got about 55% of the way through, and then I stopped reading it while I read the other 2 books because this isn't beachy, but I knew it would be kind of a fast-paced read, good for like the flights and stuff. And then I picked it back up on our way back home and I finished it. So I didn't tell you guys what this was about either during reading it. I don't know, I should have done that when I was halfway through, but I totally forgot forgot, but this is my second Freedom McFadden book. I've read The Housemaid, and I've heard really good things about this one, and although I liked The Housemaid, I rated it 4 stars. It wasn't as good as I maybe thought it would be. I was kind of expecting more, but I was excited to read another book by her, and I've heard good things about this one, and I will say I haven't really thought about a rating yet because it's been less than 24 hours since I finished it, but I'm between like a 4 and a 4.25. I don't know if I liked it better than The Housemaid. I do think that it was less maybe predictable than The Housemaid, although there were parts of The Housemaid that were very shocking, but I kind of guessed what was sort of going to happen, and in this one I didn't. And this one was definitely more like eerie and kind of creepy. So we are following our main character, who is a medical student. They're just starting kind of clinical rotations, and she has a rotation in the psychiatry unit. Her name is Amy, and she is not excited. She's kind of had experiences in her past that just make her wary about it, which you kind of learn along the way. And kind of as soon as she gets there, weird stuff kind of starts happening. There's this one patient that is in like this super security room that they're going to be moving the very next day because they realize that he's way too dangerous to be in this specific hospital psychiatry ward. He needs to go to a more high security place, but you know, they can't move him until the next day. So Amy has to spend the night for a night shift kind of deal at this psychiatry ward, and she's not locked in, but there's like, you're not supposed to leave, and there's like a special code you have to put in the door to leave, and blah blah blah. And patients and others from the ward kind of start vanishing. It starts seeming like the guy that is dangerous is maybe like has escaped, or Amy starts thinking that he will. The patients start like saying he's gonna kill everyone, but you know, they're crazy, so are you really gonna listen to them or believe them? She is just trying to survive the night alive, basically. And it was so easy and fast to read. Her writing is just very like straight to the point, which I like for what this is. I don't think it's a literary masterpiece, but it's a thriller. It's fast paced. It keeps your attention, keeps you hooked. You want to keep reading. She always ends her chapters with like, there's someone standing in the doorway, and then the chapter ends, and so you're like, who's standing in the doorway? Why are they standing there? And so you want to keep reading, like little stuff like that, which definitely helps you stay engaged. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I would recommend, and although I don't think she's my favorite author, I definitely think I'm going to continue reading books by her just for when I do want a fast-paced psychological thriller where you're on the edge of your seat the whole time. And that's pretty much all I read. I did briefly start listening to this book on audio, The Woman in Cabin 10. I think I told you guys before I even left that I downloaded it on audio just as an option, and I started listening to it on our flight over to Costa Rica, but then I fell asleep, and so I had to go like back quite a bit, and I was literally only 4% of the way through it, and then I listened to a little bit more of it on our flights back home, but not a lot. So I'm probably honestly on page like 50 maybe, so really not that far in at all. I feel like I can't even give you like a summary of it because I'm not even to the point where she's on her cruise yet. If you don't know, this is about this girl that goes on this cruise ship, and she thinks she sees or hears someone go overboard, but apparently no one is missing on this cruise ship, and it's like not a lot of people on this cruise ship. Like, it's pretty small, it's very exclusive kind of, so she's just like, you know, did she make it up? I think from what I've kind of heard and gathered, she's kind of an unreliable narrator. But yeah, not very far in, and I don't know if I'm absolutely loving the audiobook format, so I might switch to the physical copy. I don't know, but just thought I'd tell you guys that I started it, but I'm not far in at all. Those are the 3 books that I read on vacation. I hope you guys enjoyed. I had such a good time. I highly recommend going to Costa Rica. It was awesome. We went ziplining, we saw sloths, we just spent so much time in the sun and in the ocean. It was just a super fun time, so I am glad that I took you guys along with me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!